Thanks for joining me for creating a digital professional portfolio. Hi, everybody. I am Meg Ormiston, and I welcome any comments, any questions you have. Please email them to me at meg@megormiston.com. Like all the other sessions, I always start with the why. Why would we ever want a digital professional portfolio? Historically, we needed one when we got out of school to land our first job. But many people then never look at it again, and it's in some binder on some shelf somewhere. You're happily moving along in your teaching career. But I think we all kind of need to step back professionally and reevaluate that this point. And that is the why behind this. The big why for so many of you in so many states and internationally is the evaluation system is changing. And you need to provide evidence and artifacts about the work that you are doing professionally. And creating that portfolio will help you get an organization structure around all of that. If you have been in the classroom for many years, think how many committees you sat on and all of that information. It's hard to think about all of that and pulling it together in one piece, but that's what I'm talking about is a professional snapshot of who you are. And it's critical to everybody, not just those seeking to move to a different position or something like that. So that's the why kind of behind it. And don't get stuck as I'm going through the session. Don't get stuck with the colors, the borders, forget all of that information because it just doesn't. Well, we want it to look professional, of course, but I don't want us to get too stuck up into the template, the background, because really it's about the content. Now, what I did, of course, to get started here is I did a quick Google search for sample portfolios. I didn't want to start from scratch. So I did a search, and what I really did find is I found a whole lot of pre-service teachers that had made portfolios, it looks like as part of their class, and then put them out there and never touched them again. The samples I found, I'm like, I hope that teacher has a job 9 years later and the portfolio is still kind of floating around out there. So that's one place in your career you need a portfolio. But there's other times that you need to provide those artifacts and show your supervisor that you really are growing professionally. And let me show you how. So that's kind of the sense of this. Now, this was another one, and Megan, that I think this one was a little dated also, but there's all different ways to create the portfolio. And in this session, I'm going to not only talk about how to create the portfolio, but most importantly, what you should include in this portfolio. And you can see both Megan and Danielle included a photo. We'll talk a lot about how to include photos where you're not violating copyright, which is key. Here's another example. Now we have Stephanie, and Stephanie was looking for a job, and this one is built on a different platform than the other ones. But don't worry about it. Let's really focus in on the content. So let's go back. Let's take a look. Stephanie on the left, that's called the navigation bar. On the left, she has her philosophy, her resume, her competencies, and what she's certified in. Very important to have kind of those things right up front. Now, Megan has her navigation across the top. It just really doesn't matter where it is, but you do want to make sure that it's easy to navigate so a potential employer or a selection committee or your administrator can easily get to the pieces of their portfolio they're interested in. Now, Danielle, her navigation's down on the left side, so it doesn't really matter placement. What it does matter is that it's easy to move around and get to the pieces that you want. And this one I thought was interesting. This one captured my attention because of the picture on the top. And again, I just spent a few minutes just kind of looking around, and this portfolio had a unit plan with a reflection, and it had a number of pieces of, I'm going to call them artifacts, of lesson plans, student work, and other things. One of them, this student evidence, I thought that was very, very interesting, and upload that. You might want to be careful about maybe not right on your portfolio, including the student's name right there. It depends on probably on your policy within your school district. This one is just her welcome. The picture captured my attention, but then her second paragraph, I taught English in China. And if I was coming from an administrator point of view, thinking what interesting background she would bring to my classrooms. And I thought that was just a kind of a really key thing to put. It got my attention right away, in addition to the pictures. This is where I would direct you. If you emailed me and said, where should I make my portfolio? I would send you to Google Sites. But if you were in the position that you were thinking about moving to a different type of job, switching districts, I would strongly encourage you to use your personal Gmail account. Don't link it to a school account. It's just a professional thing to think about kind of right up front. So, with the how, so I've kind of given you the why. You need a portfolio. But the most important thing is before we jump into the how, I actually like you to pause me. And what I'd like you to do on a piece of paper, however you want to do it, I want you to brainstorm 4 or 5 main things you want in your navigation. 4 or 5. I want you to have it very clear the purpose of your digital portfolio before we get into the minutia of how to create it. So actually, I'm encouraging you to pause, make your 4 or 5, discuss it with colleagues if possible, and then come on back. The more you use it, this actually changes your navigation the more you use it. The reason I encourage you to use Google Sites is because Google has made it very easy to bring pieces from Google Drive into your website itself. So it all works well together. Different templates that you can go ahead and use. The one I'm going to advise you not to use is the one that says Classroom Site. I know that sounds funny, but that one has a glitch in it that Google has not fixed yet. And what happens is, if you pick that one, you think, oh, this is perfect, exactly what I want. You can't get rid of the picture or the placeholder. Just pick a different one. Go to the right, browse for more, and go ahead and pick. You can see on the left that there's schools and education. You can just pick one. Again, don't worry about the backgrounds too much, but just stay away from that classroom one. I've had a lot of headache over that one. So now that you have your 4 or 5 main things that you're going to work on, then you go ahead and create. This right here is key. This is what you're looking at now are the ones I have made, and the list goes on and on. When I was learning it, when I was testing it out, then I had some great vision that I would create in apps and education like a review. I never kept up with it, but that was my vision. But right here at this moment, when you see create on the upper left, you're about to name your site. You can't change that. So just so you know, you can't change that once you make it. So you really want to think about what you want to name your site. This is the apps in education I never kept up with, whatever year I started this. In 12. And so I never kept up with it. But this is just simple and easy. You can see here, my navigation is on the left. And you can, when I say your 4 or 5 main navigation things, that doesn't mean you can't have things underneath it. And you can see on the home and the test that I have folders, kind of basically folder within a folder, or in this case, it's a page. All right, this is an example of my personal portfolio. I started it. I did it really as an example for a class I taught. There's a lot of choices, a lot of options. Don't get overwhelmed. That's the number 1. Most important thing is you're going to start off very basic. You're going to have your home page, which is when you create your name, that creates the home page. And then you can go ahead and just add your 4 or 5 pages. Simple, simple, simple. What I would suggest is in your building process, as you're creating this website, keep it private only to you until you're ready to share it. Now, you never have to make it public to everybody on the web. You could, let's say, if you were making it for a job switch, you could build your whole thing privately. Then you could invite people into the website. So you might invite the principal who you're going to go and interview with if you don't want to make it public. A lot of people don't want to make it kind of public that they're out looking for a different position. So like that, Google makes it possible for you to keep it private or public, which is nice. I already showed you the galleries, so we don't have to take a look at this. But one piece I strongly encourage you to include is the way you're using social media. Now, this is my great friend Sonia Raymond. She's an awesome teacher, and she really tells the story of her classroom through Twitter. Every day she posts different things. Well, she skipped a couple days in there, but most days she takes pictures of what her students are doing and she posts them. And you need to be sharing with everybody how you are showcasing the great things that you're doing in your classroom. Twitter is one way to do it, but you want to make sure that you also include your Twitter feed within your professional portfolio. You might just pick parts of it, like I did here with Sonia. This is just a simple screenshot. This is another screenshot, and those of you that are tweeting, you might know about some of the chats that are going on. This is This is a sample of one chat. This is Illinois Ed Chat. I love Illinois Ed Chat. They do a great job. So if you are growing professionally by doing things like Twitter chats, you want that in your portfolio. You want to showcase, hey, I'm learning beyond the school day. And what I would do is, let's say you participate in Illinois Ed Chat. What I sure would have in my portfolio is I would have a link out to the archive that gives the artifact to say, look, I presented 3 times a month or whatever, however you choose to do that. And there it is right there. And so it's a key piece, I think, to your digital portfolio. If I was a principal and you were interviewing with me, I'd want to see how you are growing professionally beyond what is provided at school. And this is a nice way to do that. A lot of the artifacts, and the way to find them is, let's say you participate in the third grade chat. You just put into Google third chat with the hashtag, put in third chat archive, and it will bring you right to it. Most of them are on this website, which is Storify, but some people are also using a Google Plus community to archive. You want this type of evidence or artifact in your portfolio to say, yes, look, I am going above and beyond. Because on many of your teacher evaluation tools, you have to show this type of thing. So include it right within your portfolio. So creating a digital portfolio is not just for people that are looking for jobs. Think about pulling everything that you've done, all those committees that you sat on, and putting them all into a professional portfolio. Again, if you have any questions, you are welcome to email me. I'll happily get right back to you. Thanks for joining me today.